So it's fascinating, Brandon. If you look at the actual history of insurance in our country, we didn't have any state-sponsored insurance or employer-based insurance. This goes back into way back into history, where there were workers who were working in sugarcane fields and railroads, and what used to happen was, just because of the living conditions, they started experiencing a lot of healthcare issues, and couldn't afford, obviously, healthcare, just because of cost as well as access. Right? I mean, they were working in remote locations; they didn't have access to doctors and nurses and so on and so forth. So what started happening was, these workers started forming labor unions and went back to their employers and basically said, you got to pay us more, otherwise we won't essentially show up. And people who were showing up, they were falling sick just because of poor health conditions. So instead of paying more to these workers, what employers started doing was, let's start providing some sort of health insurance or health care to our workers. So it was more about protecting their employees, purely from the point that if employees don't show up, who's going to work in the farms and so on and so forth. So this is how the concept started, and then eventually it was politicized over the years, starting from Roosevelt and others, in terms of looking at how do we create a broad, single payer healthcare system. And multiple presidents tried it. They all tried for a single payer system, believe it or not, at the time of World War II. But then, they basically said, let's look at over 65, and that's our Medicare form. And then after the soldiers and all of our vets came back from the Second World War, that's how the VA thing started. So various times of the industry, various levels of broad population-based health insurances have come to bear. And this whole concept of employer-based insurance happened again because of the labor unions kind of getting together and their conditions. So that's how we as a country have a quasi kind of single payer system for Medicare, CHIP, Medicaid, as well as VA. But then we have a commercial-based, employer-based health insurance for a commercial population, which is quite unique if you look at the broad sense of the world in terms of how healthcare is delivered across the world.